Welcome to the Tesla Economist. Please hit the thumbs up and remember to subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter and talk to me on Patreon. Tesla's stock price, $3,000. It certainly has a nice ring to it, and as early as 2024, wow, that's going to be some retirement. $3,000 really is a big number. In fact, unfathomable for me really, to the level of wealth it could take me relative to my spending habits. I'm pretty sure a lot of you are eyeing it up too. A good chance retirement improves a few levels for you also. Especially for those of us holding leaps too. I think we'll be extra happy to hit $3,000 in 2024 with those. Right, leaps. Those long-term call options with expiry dates of up to around 2 years. A potential way to lock in today's low Tesla prices, so you can exercise them in a couple of years when you've saved up enough cash. At least that was my initial strategy in buying leaps. But I'm starting to branch out a little bit more now on my option strategies. I think 2 years leaps are not quite hitting my threshold of risk or excitement nowadays. Now, just to refresh everyone what I mean by that, for starters, I'm only putting 10% of my portfolio into leaps. They are all still options and thus have the potential to go into zero. Even though they're 2 years out, I still class them under my high risk portfolio. Anyway, I'm extending my options trading strategy somewhat and looking at alternative strategies. I guess more exciting, more greedy strategies if I'm honest, of course with higher risk, but much higher rewards. And I've actually banked some fairly decent profits with my leaps trading. I was thinking about rolling the dice for some higher risk. Perhaps my trading skills are improving and I'm ready for the next level. Either that or I just got lucky and now have a full sense of security. Therefore, I'm looking at different options rather than just the furthest possible expiry date, close to the money, which was my previous buying criteria, and only when we're facing a dip on a dip, a double dip. I don't intend on day trading regularly or anything, and it may be months between any trade. Now, of the recent events, the first time it dropped to the low 600s and then recovered, I regretted not buying that dip as it bounced back so fast. So last week when we got the dip to the low 600s again, when it was about $630, I bought a call option with a strike price of $700 and expiry of less than 2 weeks. I didn't tell anyone as I didn't want to encourage it. I bought the full contract for about $1,800 and sold it a few days later for $4,000. Not too bad. It just really felt like that was the bottom for me, yet despite so many unqualified people telling me it's going to the 500s. That was a little risky, but I won. For the record, not that you'll know, I didn't buy any other options that I lost on and am not disclosing. I'm more than happy to disclose my losers too. You can't win them all. I also bought about 5 leaps on the recent dips too, of which less than half are in profit yet. Short-term options are high risk, but give good quick returns. But I can admit the trade I won was luck, not skill. However, what about longer-term options that can also give insane returns? I think I could add that to my risk portfolio, maybe a new asymmetric portfolio. In the past, we've seen Tesla's stock price shoot up 5 or 10 times in a relatively short period of time. When the stock runs, it runs. And it's looking like this trend will continue whilst markets' paradigms of Tesla's change over time. And the more they realize truly what this company actually is, when their aha moment finally arrives, the stock jumps. Oh, Tesla make robots. I get it now. Ooh, what a great company. Now, no one's complaining about a 5 or 10 times return, but if you'd leveraged that, it would have been significantly higher. In fact, some of you actually did, as you showed me some astounding returns some of you got with your options trading when Tesla was running. And I know some of you did really well, using deep in the money leaps too. Well, what if Tesla runs again? I think we can all agree there is a possibility that Tesla's stock price will even be in excess of $3,000 in 2 years' time. There are a stack of reasons for that to occur. So what if we bet on Tesla hitting $3,000? How much could we profit within 2 years? Well, my experience is in options and leaps, so that would be the way I would look to benefit from a potential $3,000 stock price, and I think I may have found it. In fact, I had been keeping my eyes on it during the dip, and actually placed an order in that didn't hit, but I was thinking of a really far out of the money option with strike price of $2,000. If you're holding one of these leaps and the stock price hits $3,000 in the next couple of years, then there would be an intrinsic value of $1,000 there, because you can exercise your contract and buy the stocks for $2,000 and sell it on the market for $3,000. Obviously per stock, not contract of 100. So I put an offer in for one of these for $50. I think it did get close, low 50s at one stage, but didn't quite execute. However, even though the stock has increased over 10% since, the contract only increased 20%, so it's still not majorly expensive. The pricing is due to it being so far out of the money. It becoming a little bit less far out doesn't have a major impact on the cost. The biggest impacts won't be felt until it's in the money, and then we start seeing some big returns. Now, if the stock price went all the way up to $3,000, that's $1,000 profit on $50, or an $100,000 profit on $5,000. And okay, it might not be easy to get it at $50, but $60 should be a possibility, which is still going to come in at a 17 times return. We probably have another potentially volatile month with dips. Okay, sure, you could say that about the next 12 months, even if you wanted. But my point is that Tesla would have recovered relative to the market by about the end of next month, when we can finally put this Q2 behind us. The rest of the market is not suffering from Shanghai lockdowns in Q2. What I'm saying is that although there are plenty of possibilities that the market may dip again in the future, Tesla might not dip so much next time relative to the market. No Q2 shutdowns or Elon buying another public company. Well, hopefully not. Therefore, there may never be a more opportune time. Perhaps it might be prudent to wait until 2025 leaps are available in September. That's an extra 2 quarters we get of growth. It can have a huge impact. Plus Tesla time, where anything could be announced, launched, or some event to send the stock flying. 2025. The year a lot of people spout Tesla will hit $5,000 by then. Yeah, that is a really long time in Tesla world, especially when the stock has been relatively flat for some time. And over said time, so much has happened since. Hence, why there is a potential for the stock to break out. It's all very well you think Tesla might hit $3,000, and you can even sound professional saying you think there is a 25% chance that will happen, and perhaps you're right. But a 25% chance what happened? Well, the stock price goes to $3,000. But why would it hit $3,000? You can look at the potential growth trajectory, especially based on historic growth. You can analyze the production capacities of all the factories, etc., and reach that conclusion. But there are other things you can also take into consideration, which make things simpler. What events could cause the stock to jump to $3,000? Perhaps cracking FSD and it being approved. Well, there's a real possibility that could send the stock to $3,000. What percentage chance do you place on that occurring in the next 2 years? There's 4680 manufacturing. The Texas and Berlin factory are meant to each reach 200 gigawatt hour run rates, or enough sales for well over 5 million cars a year. Plus all other cell suppliers. I would say that is an event that could send the stock price to $3,000. We also have new factories. We might even break ground on some soon. China and Indonesia are the next 2 likely to be built. They should be running sometime next year, meaning that by the time mid-2024 rolls around, they should have each had a decent chance to ramp up. They should generate about an additional million units for 2024. That could mean we see in excess of 800,000 deliveries maybe as early as Q2 2024. That is an insane number, and we've even calculated that profits are going to be crazy enough to justify a stock price up around, you guessed it, $3,000. Alright, so we aren't just pulling numbers out of thin air here. There are plenty of events in the pipeline for Tesla to send that stock to the moon. Whereas if we hoped Apple would be trading about 5 times its value today in 2 years, it would be harder to believe, as they don't have any events that could turn the company around this much, at least that we know of. In fact, Tesla has so many insane potential events, like robots and things, that the stock price could even hit $5,000. It's a possibility, but it's still always good to check ourselves for delusion of fanboy. Clearly there's a chance we can hit $3,000 within the next 2 years. Well, of course there's a chance, but what chance is a better question. What percentage do you put on any of these events occurring? 10%? 20%? 50%? If you're placing an above 5% chance, then this becomes an asymmetric investment, as in it's more than a 1 in 20 chance of getting 20 times return. Personally, I rank it much higher. Not only that, the stock price only has to reach just over $2,000 to actually break even. And there are still plenty of other chances of doubling or quadrupling your investment too. Anyway, this isn't intended to be the make or break on your portfolio. In fact, for me, if I'm honest, it's just something that adds to the extra excitement of this company, whilst we maintain our patience for this company to scale. Of course, I am in no way simply throwing money away like I'm gambling. This is still a thoroughly calculated move. And bear in mind, this is not my only strategy. It would only be a very small part of my portfolio. Thanks for listening. Please hit the thumbs up and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter and talk to me on Patreon.